Okay, we are live. We are live on Bead Maker and Coffee. It is a Monday morning at the end of May. I can't believe we're already up at the end of May, and Archie is taking the stage.
On it. Yep, he is on it.
Yeah.
On it. Let's see here.
Well, I wasn't
Archie, can you
expecting
say
that when
hi?
we got on, but I was thinking, Sid, we need to contract Mr. Josh Pierce to write us an intro song.
Yes, and we probably need to update our video. It's about a year and a half old. Oh gosh. Look how pretty kitty he is. He's so pretty.
Yep, star of the show today.
Well, I don't know what's going on with my webcam, but we're just gonna go with it. It's zooming out.
Yep.
So how's everyone this morning?
Well, I think
It's a
every
early Monday. It's a early Monday.
I mean it's 9:30 here.
Well, it's 7:30 here.
Yes. Well, hey,
It
for our friends in Guam, it's I think the middle of the night or something. I don't know
Oh
what
my
the sun
goodness.
dilation is, but yeah. Or
Wow.
maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna find out in about a week because I'm headed that direction, but not all the way to
Nice.
them. So yeah.
Nice. Very cool, very cool. Well, here we are. It is what month is it? May?
May. Yeah. According
It's
to
been a
Squawk
minute
Squad,
since we've been here. Yeah, so, let's see what's been going on. Where are you at? You're
I
not
am
home,
in
obviously.
Rochester, New York, at the third of three Bear Automotive Supply locations, which is their grand opening was on Saturday. Josh was here
Mhm.
with me, came
Nice.
in, and Team ATG was here in full force because all the
Cool.
brands are represented here. This
Nice.
is not Bear Automotive behind me, by the
Right.
way. But,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm in the warehouse today, so this is better looking. But yeah, so we had a great week of training. Monday, Tuesday was there, and then Thursday I was at Golden Gate North with Bob, and then we were here this weekend. So
Nice. Very good.
full travel schedule. You're home.
I am home. I have been home for a few weeks, but I think once we hit June 1st, it could get a little bit crazy for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
going to be probably pretty nutty from. Well, I think actually from next Friday all the way through to the end of July is kind of
Yeah.
just full go. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Or August, depending on what happens. Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, good morning, everybody. Everybody's in the comments. So let's see. So what do we got going on? We've got let's do the
What's our product of the week? We'll just start there. That's always easy.
well, let's start here because we probably should have gone over this. So I said I would start traveling in June, and the first weekend of June, Josh and I are going to Supreme Detail Supply in Orlando for, I think we have an IDA meet and greet, and then also a Stout certification class.
Yep.
And Bradley Bradshaw from North Carolina is coming to the class. So
Oh,
super excited
man.
about that. Yeah, he's been trying to get to a class forever. He's been asking us to come to North Carolina. So he's coming to us, which is super exciting. So we're super excited to see him there.
Yeah.
Um, so thanks, Bradley, for signing up for that. He's been waiting for this forever. So favorite product of the week. That would be if I could even remember last week. Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Stout. I I've been doing a lot of coatings, and I have several more this week. Um, and it's just one of those things that never like stops amazing me. Like it's just crazy how good it is. Um, it has to be Stout. It has to be.
Well, I'm gonna
It's
stay in
just
the family.
crazy.
I am going
Okay.
to totally stay in the family, but I'm going soul. So,
Okay.
I started out in this business and we serviced a lot of car wash stuff and we used to do an express wax, right? And we would
Uh-huh.
orbital the car with 2 guys and
Uh-huh.
remove the wax in like 20 minutes, 10 minutes,
Yeah.
right? 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what? You can almost do that with Soul. You can lay
Yeah.
down almost a half the car at a time, buff it
Yeah.
out by, with 2 towel method, and then
Uh-huh.
do the other half the car so fast. We did it on Thursday or Thursday at Golden Gate North for a mobile rig rally. And so we're trying to
Uh-huh.
show the mobile guys you've got a tool that you can use as a coating.
Mhm.
And you can use it in kind of a less than ideal setting, right? I mean, most of the time with coating, like a controlled environment, a good shop, all the stuff, right? And
Yeah.
tool just gives you the ability to give a quality product that's going to last a year or a little bit more, uh,
Mhm.
at a really good price point, and it's super easy to use for the mobile guys. So
Mhm.
I've never not loved that product, but I sometimes forget that it's still there because Stout
Mhm.
is all consuming with how good it is for us.
Yeah, yeah, and Stout's a good one for mobile guys, and then it's also good for, like, team coding. So if you have, employees that work in teams, it's kind of a team-friendly coding,
Yeah.
whereas maybe something like Stout, not so much, right? Um, Very cool. Yeah, so coatings this week. I'm always a big fan of the coatings, but I still just, honestly, for those out there, if you ever do get a chance to take one of our Stout classes, it really is just with rehab and Stout, it's almost like you feel guilty because we have made it so, I'm not going to say easy, I'm going to say efficient
Yeah.
and fast, so efficient. The other day, I've been doing a lot of new cars, and those are easy. I can do those in 3.5 hours. But I did a 2013 Volvo XC60, and I think I was like 4.5 hours. Like it was just crazy because it's just so efficient. And I
Well, it
love it.
really
I
is.
would do it every day if I could.
It takes our apex, effort to be the world's
Mhm.
laziest detailers, and it kinda gets us
Yeah.
there between,
Yeah.
between rehab and stout. I mean, boy,
It's
our product line,
crazy.
if you look at 2 years ago, we're versus where we are
Oh,
today,
yeah. Yeah.
our process is so much more efficient than it's been. It's kinda
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
It's been fun to be a part of. So,
Yeah, for
um,
sure. For sure, and we laugh and call ourselves the world's laziest detailers, and that's what we want, but, I mean, the product that I'm putting out is crazy. I mean, like, the finish on the cars and the coating and just everything. I mean, the customer's getting a far better, product delivered to them as well, and the cars just look amazing, and it's just that's where you feel guilty that you can make it look like you just spent 20 hours on it, you know, and all of a sudden it just looks so amazing. So yeah, super, super still just am not over the excitement of stout. I love it.
well, we put it on my truck, last summer at my party.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
not in ideal
That wa
conditions, but we did it
that was the
anyway.
testing. Yeah, we got home from Fred Meyer and I said, "You gotta look at this."
So, I'm
It's
still amazed every
crazy.
time I close my door how slick it is, right? Because we
Yeah.
just did the driver and passenger door
Right.
on my side of the truck.
Mhm.
But man, just so slick. The
Mhm.
marring is just unbelievable how minimal that marring really is, and
Mhm.
I don't get maniacal. I'm not like you where I really actually take care of my car. I just
Yeah.
don't take care of the truck.
Mhm.
It's kind of the estate truck, and I drive it every day and do what
Mhm.
I do, and it
Mhm.
just holds up so well, and it's so
Yeah.
smooth. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. It's
well, good
crazy.
morning to Fast Eddie's and Jeff, and uh,
Yes, good morning. Oh, Scott, sorry about the pollen. We have it here, but nothing like some states, because I see and hear some of these people from some states, and it just sounds absolutely horrible.
yeah, my truck was yellow for about a month. It
Oh my
started to
gosh.
subside at my house, but between the fir trees cross pollinating and then all the flowers, and the flowers are
Mhm,
gorgeous, but man, the pollen
mhm.
is a thing.
Yeah,
OC
yeah.
Detail, nice to
Good
have you here.
morning.
So our first
Yes.
question of the day, are we gonna have anything in New Jersey? Well, funny you should ask. There is a PNS Double Black Training Center in New Jersey, and Bobby, Wiener puts that program together, and I think they're having a class coming up here, so,
Yeah, I feel like it's early June. I feel like they've got one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have stuff there. I totally get it, but remember, guys, we've been to New York every first part of June for the last 4 years
Couple years,
with
yeah.
B squared. So unfortunately, this year we're not doing that. They've kind of changed their program for this year, but we'll have something in New York, New Jersey area probably before the end of the year for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, look who's here! It's our song.
Josh Pierce. So fun.
Mm,
Josh is the hero. I can't wait for you guys to see what's coming up in June. I think there's going to be a fun little promotion between PNS and the Rag Company in June that you guys are all going to want to jump on. And Josh is a big part of that. So we're excited about that.
yes, Mr. Marketing.
Yes.
So, Josh, I don't know if you heard, but we need a theme song for the show.
Yes. Travis, good morning. What is your favorite dressing for exterior plastics and tires? Is it oil-based or water-based? Man, the dressings have been quite the conversation online lately. Even in other groups other than ours, I've seen a lot of about PNS
Yeah.
dressings. So my favorite for exterior plastics, I'm going to have to go with Dynamic.
Hmm.
Tires, Dynamic or Full Send. I really do love Full Send. They are in the same family, so honestly, who knows why I choose one over the other? You basically get the same result. Both great. On tires, though, I would say that probably my top favorite one. Um, this does go against being the world's laziest detailer, though, is Wipe and Shine. That one does take some effort to put on. But
Oh,
honestly, like finish and all of that, Wipe and Shine is awesome. I just don't get to use Wipe and Shine too much because for like big truck tires, in all seriousness, and on big truck tires, Wipe and Shine's not the best choice by far. And I just end up with a lot of big trucks and Suburbans and stuff. So I really only get to use Wipe and Shine like on, street tires,
right.
sedans, things like that. But Wipe and Shine's probably my favorite. Um, uh, tire dressing, but then plastics, exterior, fender wells, all that good stuff, Dynamic or Full Send, 100%.
Yeah, I would absolutely say Dynamic for all that stuff, all the black plastic
Yeah.
trim, all the wheel wells, all that stuff, 100%.
Hmm. Hmm.
If I'm doing the Sydney trick on the matte finish wheels, Dynamic, I just use it on everything there.
Hmm.
I'm still a fan, and I'm the weirdo. A non-silicone product that we have, it's the only one we got in that space, which
Hmm.
is Dressed,
Yeah,
and that's your
that
fault.
one's really good.
You're the one who
Yeah,
pushed us to go there, Sid. So
I know it's really
um,
good.
it's just a great product. I like the shine. I like it because it's not too shiny, but it
Right.
looks rich and it does
Yeah.
look well shined. And we put it on
Hmm.
my rental vehicle on Tuesday, and then we drove that sucker to Santa Rosa and back, and it still held up, for
Hmm.
100+ miles of driving. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but those are our exterior ones. Our interior
Yep.
ones, I think we have a different answer on. So,
Yep. Yep. Which I do think somebody asked that coming up.
well, here we go. Let's jump down to the next one.
All right. Rachel says, I'm new to actually looking after my car properly, and I've never used protection such as quick detailers or anything like that. I've been looking at Bead Maker or Defender. What's good? Oh, both, both. Um, I think there's probably people out there that could choose between the two. I can't, just because I go back to, 2017 when I started using Bead Maker. And
Right.
so I still like it has a stronghold on, a part of my heart that, I can't give up. So, Rachel, if you get a chance, go on to, gosh, where is that? I think the latest videos are actually on the Rag Company YouTube, but there's one that's called the Wash Clay Seal, and I show you how to use Bead Maker and Defender. And this is a great process when starting to do your own car that can be really fun and have big results. So go look up the Wash Clay Seal on the Rag Company YouTube channel, and I show you how I use Bead Maker as a clay lube. And so then you're kind of getting the bead maker experience, but then you go back after it's dry with Defender, and it's awesome. Now, if we have to choose one for you to start playing with, I'm going to say Defender.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
Only because Bead Maker has a little bit of a learning curve. Defender really doesn't. It's very forgiving. Defender's going to give a little bit longer term protection. And I mean, it's clearly just the more advanced technology product, but honestly, I love both of them. So,
Yeah, total. And I would say if you're only going to apply dry, then
yeah,
Defender's the answer kind of every
yeah,
time.
yeah.
If you can do a wash clay seal and you're set up for that and you've got the toys, man, there's nothing better than wash clay seal with a bead maker as your
Yeah.
lube. So,
Yep. Yep.
all right, Jeff has a product of the week at his place.
Nice. I love it. Everybody put your product of the week. Been seeing people do that. I love that. Yes, Jeff, this was almost my answer, but I try to not pick on the new products too much because I feel like I get too excited. So Jeff says product of the week at Fast Eddie's is Release. This stuff is amazing. I just did an interior full of pet hair. Time saver, extremely effective. The mild deodorizer effect is great. Only problem is I need to order more. That is all of our problem. Uh, I personally have almost gone through a gallon of it, and it's just crazy. I love Release.
So the order more being all of our problem is different from my perspective than for you.
Mhm.
You is just getting it. Me, it's we got to get it out the door. So,
Right. Yeah.
little note, we had a great run on the product, and so
Yeah.
we basically sold out more than we had, and so we
Mhm.
rebatched some. That should be back into circulation
Mhm.
this week. So all of our
Mhm.
distributors who are screaming for it, it should be back out to your shelves
Yeah.
as we go forward from today. So just a little heads up on that, just because I have a little insight into the factory sometimes. So
Yeah.
um, here
Do
we
love
go
it though. Josh Pierce is in the house. He is.
in the house. He was in this house on Saturday. So
Josh never lets us down. All right, Rachel asks again, I'd also like to know what interior protection can I use after Express Interior? This one's easy for me. I just use natural finish for everything. We do have the leather protectant, and I like that one, but I just find that natural finish, I just love how easy it goes on. It's you can use it everywhere inside the whole inside interior of the car. It does a great job on leather, plastic, vinyl. I just really love natural finish. I love the finish that it gives. Not to take away from the leather conditioner because it's great as well. It smells the same. It's got the same great leather scent, but it's a little bit more work. So it depends on what kind of level you want to do. Now, I will say if I have a vehicle with old dried out leather that really needs like that premium treatment, I absolutely put leather treatment on the seats. But generally speaking, and where you're just starting out to take care of your car, I think natural finish is going to be
yeah,
the absolute way to go. I love
and
natural finish.
you can put the leather treatment on plastics and vinyl, but
Yeah, it's just
I think
more
it's
work.
too shiny.
Yeah.
It's shinier. The other thing
Yeah.
I I typically just like the look of natural finish so much
Yeah.
better, and
Yeah.
the versatility
Yeah.
on it. And we use it as a cheat code too. If you're gonna detail an
Yeah.
engine compartment, we actually spray it in there while the
Mhm.
engine's still wet, and it's
Mhm.
got a lot of versatility, and it's great on floor mats. So
Yeah. Yep.
especially the WeatherTech. So I think my answer is natural finish as well.
Mhm.
Good morning, Bruce.
Bruce's Garage, good morning.
All
Good
right.
morning. 404 not found, checking in. Good morning, PNS team.
Mhm. Hey, look at that. He's already composing.
He's on the theme song. Josh is a great songwriter. He
He has
really is.
little
He can
known
do it
talent,
all.
Josh, which there
Yeah.
are a lot of little known talents in Josh. That's one of them.
Yep. Yep. All right. Steve Pearson says, good morning, Team PNS. I feel spoiled with rehab. I used it against a well respected polish, and the other polish just felt like an oily mess. We do love our rehab for sure.
Enough said.
For sure. Yep. Travis Aldridge. My parents just purchased a 2023 Cadillac XT4. I did a full detail on it this weekend, wash, clay seal, and full interior. I just asked them not to use the car wash that have brushes. Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on this, and Keith can probably expand on this more, but I feel like honestly, the customers that I have that use the touchless car wash versus maybe say the car washes with brushes but are well maintained car washes, they actually end up with more damage because am I right, Keith, that the touchless ones actually use a higher pH soap? They use harsher chemicals to get the car clean.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then their water pressure's higher, which if they're not cleaning their filter, you're kind of sandblasting your car. So don't always assume that the car washes with brushes are the total evil. I think that all car washes are probably a necessary evil. But the ones that I have my customers use here do have, and I wouldn't say they have brushes. They have the whippy waps. What are those things called?
So we call those cloth or mitters. So you've got really, three things here. First, Yes, absolutely. The touchless washes, the chemistry is way
Mhm,
higher and way
mhm,
lower. So
mhm,
your pH is going to be 12 to 14 or 13 whatever on the alkaline, and then on the acid you're going to be way down in the twos. And so
mhm,
um, we used to say about high pH, it's if you put it through a high pressure, which they do, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's
mhm,
literally, I mean, you've got a lot of solids in there, and it's beating at it. So, and the pressure is really chiseling the dirt off the car. So,
mhm.
there's good and bad to that. The nice part is if you got a coating on it, it's going to hold up a lot better than if you don't. But if the wash, like Sid said, is well maintained, and they don't, there's no brush washes anymore except that one that's at the airport at San Francisco. But
Mhm,
most car washes now have cloth, and as long as the
mhm,
cloth is generally clean, or
mhm,
the foam mitters are clean, and the car wash is well maintained, you can
mhm.
get by without doing a lot of damage. The big thing is soap. Soap is the lubricity, and if they have good lubricity, you're fine. But you're not wrong, Travis. If you can hand wash with
Yeah,
a good process, look, I've seen a lot of guys do a lot of damage with a dirty wash mitt and bad water. So you
yeah,
know,
for
it
sure.
can go both ways. I think good process, good
Mhm.
practices, and you can get a good result on a car.
Yep.
Nothing you do to touch a car, whether you use high pressure
Mhm,
or you use a mitt, is not going to have the potential for scratching. There's nothing you can really do to avoid that. The
yeah,
best part you can do is get a good coating on there, and then do your
mhm,
maintenance.
yep.
Look who's here. I'm so disappointed that Josh and I did not get a chance to buzz over and see her, but it's Robin, the
Oh,
detail lady.
Robin. Hello, friends. She has a product of the week, and it is my number three, Reflect. It's so good for the final inspection. Gosh, that's the other one is when are we getting Reflect in gallons? I go through so much Reflect, so much. It's
So
crazy.
if you want reflect in gallons, I want to start a campaign, hashtag PS reflect gallon. See if we can get to 1,000 by the end of the week.
Nice.
I'm doing
Nice.
this because I'm leaving the country on Friday, and then I
Right.
want to
Yeah.
be around for the aftermath.
Right. Right. Too funny. Well, we miss you, Robin.
We do. I missed her this week. I'm so bummed I couldn't get out to see her. But
So Stoich says, just a note, bead. Is he saying like he chooses bead maker if you had to choose one? Do we
well,
think that's what he's saying, maybe?
yeah, I would tell him though in his environment, especially, I would probably be the one to go after. Defender would be probably my more friendly to his environment.
Yeah.
Because he's in Guam, everybody, just in
Yeah.
case you didn't
Yeah.
know. So,
Thanks for staying up late too, by the way.
yeah.
Bruce's Garage. I'm trying to learn more about PNS products. Tell me about Pearl versus Radiance. Well, they could not be more different. I will say that for sure. So, Pearl is like an everyday wash. So, this is just, in my opinion, it's just the best when you don't want to think about anything and you just want to have a really good, nice wash. Pearl is it. I use Pearl as my hand soap. Like that's how safe it is. It's just a really nice, soft, lubricating car wash with no protection in it. It's just great. Um, Radiance, on the other hand, is a treat. It's a
Yeah.
treat. So this is not an everyday wash. This is when you're looking for that extra wow. It's when you feel like just having fun for the day. It's when you want your car to feel like it was just coated again. So Radiance has protection in it. It has
Yeah.
massive gloss enhancers. So I wouldn't really say it's like a protection per se, but massive gloss enhancers, right? And so it's going to be much thicker. You're going to use a lot of it. The directions say to use like 6 ounces. You're not necessarily going to use that much. Maybe 2 to 4 ounces, but so use a little bit less than the directions say. I don't necessarily like it in a foam cannon. I just like it in a bucket. My favorite, like bougie wash to do is I foam on frostbite, and then I wash the car, or and then I rinse it, and then I use Radiance in my bucket. It's like the one, oh my gosh, I forgot my dog outside. Anyway, that's really sad. She's been out there for half an hour. So Radiance is like a treat. It's going to be very thick. It's going to leave behind a lot of shine and protection and gloss. And it's definitely not an every week wash. I got to go get the dog.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump to the next question. So we'll kind of
Okay.
go there. But before we do, let me just say that, the thing with Radiance is that is absolutely my best favorite bucket wash. It's like a grape snow cone wash for your car because it smells like grape. And then Pearl is just your everyday driver, super consistent wash soap that is
Sorry.
128 to 1. It's a great value product and it's super soft on the hands and it's a pH neutral product and it's fantastic. So, if you're trying to wash and kind of enhance or protect, you're going to use Radiance. If you just want to wash the car because you've got 5,000 layers of Defender on it, then Pearl is probably going to be your way to go. So, all right, here we go, and this is a good one. So, scenario: OC Detail in New Jersey. I had an interior with spilled milk or spilled latte. Perfect. I used the
Mhm.
three-step PNS system plus an extractor. Note that this spill was a few days old, and I set expectations with the client. After my efforts, there was still a lingering odor. What advice, and I assume this continues on, do we have? So, what do we got?
So my answer is going to be a little rough here. So one, probably what happened if it was on a floorboard, probably what happened is the milk absorbed into the wood or paper backing underneath the carpet. So that's going to be really hard to reach. Um, a couple things I would try is I would try going back over it and I would really take that step one, the enzyme treatment, and I would almost like focus my nozzle down in there and I would let that sit honestly for a couple hours. Like let that enzyme do its work. This is going to be a little bit against what we normally say, but sometimes you have to do that because you need the enzyme to sit on that area and really like work. Now, you can do that. You can also run an odor dock.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, if you can stick your nose to the carpet and still smell that, then you definitely need to treat it again. If it's just a general lingering odor in the air, because sometimes that can happen. If the odors have gone up into the headliner or whatever, then that's where like an odor dock is going to come in. Um, Nowadays what I do, and I know this is going to be something that's out there, I'm just going to say it because I do it, but it's not a PNS product and it's also not uh, approved by Dave. I'll just say that. But the little mini bio bombs that you can put in your steamer, those have saved me so many times because, and this is the reason it's not approved is because we don't do things safe. But if you're safe about this, wear a respirator, wear eye protection, because that is still chlorine dioxide that you're running through your steamer. So I literally do it just for these major extreme cases. I rarely use these, only when there's cases of like urine or milk or vomit stuck in carpet. I will put one in my steamer per the instructions, and then I take the tip of the steamer and I blow it into that area, because then you're getting that chlorine dioxide right at the literally the source of the odor. That has been very efficient for me, but with the caveat, this is like 2 times a year I will use this, in very extreme cases like this. So start with the letting the enzyme cleaner sit for an hour and then go back and clean again. See if that doesn't work. Um, if you can just smell it in the car and it's not necessarily in that area, try the odor dock. And then step three is like the nuclear button.
Yeah, and I would say absolutely. I would let the enzyme work.
Yeah.
Saturate it pretty good. I
Yeah.
would at that point though take my brush and on my steamer head, and I would scrub it with the steamer. I think you really
Yeah.
steam is going to be your friend there to kind of
Hmm.
kill anything that's in that fabric. And then
Yeah.
I would still probably still do an extractor process again. Use a
Hmm.
soil extractor because you're really trying to pull stuff deep out of there. Um, and I'm with you on the odor dock. Just remember, guys, one of the things you want to do with that is I learned this the hard way. If you will fast dry that carpet, you will have a better success at not having a skunky smell. So, when you do that, you need to dry the carpet before you use the odor dock anyway.
Mhm.
But getting a fan, really moving the air over that thing, fast drying it is the
Yeah.
way to go. The other thing I would say is, yeah, if you're getting a general emanation of product, um, cleaning the carpet wasn't the only answer. You still needed to clean all the hard surfaces, all the fabric surfaces in there to pull
Mhm.
any of the odor that may have kind of embedded itself in those surfaces
Mhm.
off, and then do your odor dock treatment when the car is completely dry. It's going to be a 2-day process on that car because you're
Yeah.
going to need a day for it to dry in order, because you don't want to use an odor dock on a wet in a car
Mhm.
that's got wet surfaces.
Yep.
Okay, what do we got here?
Dad's race pumpkin. Sydney is the only one to touch my matte finish. That's true. That was scary. That was scary because he had had the car for what? And this is Jason. He had had the car for I think like 8 months or something, and no one had ever touched the matte, and he was scared to death of it. And I had to do it in front of a bunch of people, but turned out great. We put stout on it. We got it sealed up, and hopefully it's performing great. Jason, let us know how it's
He looked
going when you
great.
wash it. Did
Yeah, it
it?
looked great on
Good.
Thursday. Yeah,
Good. Good.
yep.
Good,
So I'm going
good.
to mute real quick because they're open.
Keith's in a warehouse, literally. I know it looks like he's in a pretty showroom, but he's in a warehouse. All right. Well, good to see you, Jason. Thanks for checking in. Stoich says, just a note, Bead Maker Lounge has been a great resource, but the chats on the page have been getting some scammers. Yes, I've been all over the scammers. I'm not sure how that happened, but I've been on it. I've been kicking people out left and right this week. So just bear with us as we do that. I know Josh and I are both on it, and we've been kicking people out. But yes, it is a great resource. It's probably my favorite group on Facebook. But we'll take care of the scammers, don't worry. And you can always report them to us too. Josh and I try to stay up on it and watch and delete them, but just in case we miss one, if you see one, just feel free to report it, and then we get a notification. So
Yeah, Josh was kicking people off last week when we were together. He's
yeah.
like, I'm kicking
Oh
this
yeah.
guy out. I'm like, do
Oh yeah.
it.
It's kicking people off left and right last week.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
ridiculous. And
404
for,
says,
for the record, it's not about whether you're talking about other people's products or other
oh
process.
yeah, no, these are people that are
It's
just
people who are
literally
trying to,
spammers.
yeah,
Yeah.
spammers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
advertisers, and look, if you want to sell me a logo refit, do it on your page, not on our page.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, these are total spammers. They're not normal detailers.
Yep.
404 not found says armor detail ghost is another great tire shine option. It is. Here's my deal with it. I do really like it. But it takes a lot more effort to prep the tire, but it is a longer lasting tire dressing. So if you're looking for one of those ones that claims to be several weeks, Ghost is a great option, but it does take more effort on the prep. So I'm going to grab for something like this, probably more if I'm doing a coating or something like that, but probably not just on my regular details unless I was already using Ghost on that car.
Right.
But it is a little bit more effort, but it is a very good tire dressing. It is one of the longer term, but the prep, you want to make sure if you're going to go down that road, you want to make sure you do the prep appropriately.
Yeah. So I want to know where Joey's going because he says he's
Joey,
making a 3-hour drive way more enjoyable.
that's so funny. I don't know where Joey's going. He showed me the map, but I honestly, it's California and all those cities blend together, but I did know he was going to be in the car this morning and he wasn't super excited about it. So, thanks for being with us, Joey. He must have had to get up early, and he doesn't like to get up early. I think that's what he was upset about.
He's in the tech biz. They don't get up early. They stay up all night gaming.
Yeah, he misses us a lot. Steve Pearson says, Crystal Wash, I think I finally get it. It has made the decon process so much easier. I spray it on the panels right when the car comes in and I let it crystallize while I work on the wheels. That's exactly what
Yes.
I do. That's
Yep.
exactly what I do. I love Crystal Wash. I can't do any car without Crystal Wash. And honestly, I can honestly say, like, I have noticed since I've been using it like religiously, everything goes better. Whether it's the wash clay seal, whether it's my paint correction, everything goes better when I use Crystal Wash. It's so awesome. I need to get Dave to do this has been another online like rabbit hole that people have gone down, is this darn iron remover. People are just soaking these cars in iron remover and they think they're doing this great decon process. And I just like, I don't even know where to start on the rabbit hole that I want to get um, Dave to make a really in-depth video about the difference between crystal wash and iron remover. And, are you really doing much when you soak a car down with an entire bottle of iron remover? So this will be a good one to go down maybe when we're together. But crystal wash, it's the way to go
Yeah,
for
and, the
sure.
other thing I'd love, because Dave did some great comparisons between even brake buster and iron remover,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're I think, maybe we got a little thing coming up in June, maybe
Hmm.
we make that an afternoon project on a certain day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that is a great discussion for Dave to have about, decontamination and then the effectiveness
Yeah.
of certain products. I mean, look, we love our iron remover. If you've got a lot of embedded iron, use it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But, cost per use and
Yeah.
just I don't think a lot of people know that it is not as effective on other things
Right.
as it is on look, it is
Hmm.
unbelievably effective on iron, but
Oh yeah.
that's kinda where its limitation is. So,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
always goes back to our conversation about chemistry. Use products for what they're designed for.
Yeah. Yep. Chad Emerson, Josh is all around great. He's like literally the best.
He is.
He's the best. And we've just had to resign ourselves, like, not that we were ever jealous or anything, but we always thought, man, he's just always outshining us. And I mean, we always loved what he did, but now we just go, we just let it happen.
It's
It's
Josh.
like, yeah, we just let it happen. We just, he's so great. He's so great. Dad's race pumpkin back with touchless wash do use way stronger chemicals for the wash. They do. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Travis, I used Defender after the wash clay seal with Bead Maker. Perfect. Love
I
it.
hope it was Bead Maker, not Weed Maker.
I think it was Bead Maker.
Don't bring that weed maker to my house. I got enough weeds. I don't need any more of that.
Yeah. Bruce says, I love Reflect as well. I have yet to meet a person that did not think Reflect was so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Yep.
Chad, what is your ideal stripping style soap? So for
Frostbite.
me, yeah, I mean, it's Frostbite. I know it's not the strongest out there. I know there's some other ones that are, apparently much more strong, but I guess it's because I use Crystal Wash. I don't really feel like I need a soap that is stripping that much more because I think that if you have a really high power stripping soap, you're stripping any, sealants or waxes that are on the surface once you get to so strong. And not every car is coated. And so I'm not necessarily a fan of the really high power stripping soaps. I use Crystal Wash and then like Crystal Wash and Frostbite, like
Yeah.
so great. So great, those two together.
Well, I think the other
So
thing is you dry the paint out when you use
yeah.
because typically a stripper soap is very alkaline,
Mhm.
and those can be pretty harsh on paint. And so, um, I'm always leery about getting too aggressive with my product. I think
Right.
frostbite's there, and we had a fire truck in this weekend for kind of to play with, and we just we cannoned the hell out of it. It was a pumper truck, so we got
Mhm.
the frostbite out and we foam cannoned it, and then we rinsed it, and then we actually bead cannoned it. We used the bead maker and
Nice.
foam cannon,
Cool.
and I forgot how much bead maker foams when you do
Yeah.
that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. It kind of does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Very cool. Well, yeah. So Frostbite's our strongest one. Stoich, Fat Thumb, sorry, I know how to read Fat Thumb, so you're good with the weed maker. John says, I just wanted to say that I appreciate the new layout of your SDS sheets. They are much easier to read. Good
we do
deal.
too. And as a guy who's been reading them for years, it's nice to have the new format in place. So yep. Shout out to Todd Mason on our team, who actually has kind of been in charge of
Mhm.
the redo the SDS sheet project. So that's awesome.
Yep. Yep. All right. Question. What differentiates a product from the double black versus a pro series product? Rehab and therapy on the same system, but live in different product categories. Yeah, so this is a good question. So this I mean, it kind of started back in 2017 when Double Black was created. So it was created as its own line, kind of to, and Keith, you probably have more commentary here, but to simplify and put together a system. Because back in 2016, 17 is when like our storefront program started, and it started kind of going more mainstream in stores, like storefronts. And so we needed a defined system. The Pro Series had always been there. We It used to be called the, what was it, the Legacy Series or
Well,
something like that.
it was just P&S because we didn't have another
Yeah,
brand, so it was
right.
P&S, and so the Pro Series came out of, um, about 2 years after we started Double Black. So, what we did
Hmm.
with Double Black was twofold. Bob was playing around with in 2015 the idea of, "Let's do a retail line," and so
Hmm.
anybody who's ever seen our price list, we have an RP on a bunch of our products next to it for a part number starting. That was retail product.
Hmm.
And what we really looked
Hmm.
at was we wanted to put our best foot forward with a professional product that we could tell a retail consumer that pick this one, right? Because
Hmm.
if you ever look at our product line, we got what, 5 wash soaps? So
Hmm.
which one do I buy? And so it was
Right.
kind of the best foot forward, cleanest look, one product in
Hmm.
every category only. So when you
Yeah.
guys look at, and this is where we come back to rehab versus therapy and
Hmm.
intervention. We wanted a polish and a compound in that best foot forward line, Double Black. So you have a polish and a compound. Rehab sits out here in this space that is, it kind of is a, it's a one step.
Hmm.
It doesn't really have a category. It's categoryless because it kicks ass everywhere. So what I like to say. So
Hmm.
that product, was a better fit because we could also take it into a professional environment where efficiency and speed and those things are important. So we were 2 years into Double Black, and Bob and I are like, we don't like calling the other product lines that the rest of the product we have legacy because it made it sound old. And rehab isn't an old product, it's new. So we decided to go play on words of P and S and go with the Pro Series product line.
Hmm.
So anything that as and we were redoing all the labels because our labels were getting a little stale.
Hmm.
So after the Double Black label and brand refresh, and that was propelling, we looked at the Pro Series and said we need to update the labels and we need to kind of give it a name. And it wasn't going to be Legacy because that just sounds like a bunch of old guys. So we went to the Pro Series.
Yeah.
And so as you've seen us refresh labels, that's where the
Hmm.
Pro Series came from. Pro Series, I think you could say, is a little more focused at specific problems, that the product is very focused, very very on point with that one particular space. The Double Black, we tried to put our best foot forward that 80% of the time you can use this product in that space and it's going to give you everything you need.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yep. But both can be used by both pros and enthusiasts
yeah,
alike. There's nothing really, um, that we would not feel comfortable necessarily in the hands. Like it doesn't mean that only professionals can use it. So anybody can use anything out of either line, but it was really just to mainly give products a purpose and a place. But um and then the paint recovery series was kind of a fun thing between the team where rehab is in the pro series, but then it was kind of fun to be able to bring the two together and have the paint recovery series. And so that is why that name came up, was because the products did live in different lines. And so that's been kind of fun to have that and to bring the two together. So
yeah. And like I say, a lot of companies you'll see their retail product line is, I won't say a dumbed down, but it is a consumer friendly. And
right.
what we learned, what we were learning a decade ago was the consumer wants to buy what the professional
Pro.
uses. So
Yeah.
what we tried to do is steer the consumer toward our professional line and tell them,
Mhm.
answer the question without answering the question. Well,
Mhm.
which wash should I use? You got
Yeah.
six. I'm like, okay, so we gave them the answer, which was we
Mhm.
put our best foot forward, professional product. Anybody can use it though, and it's Pearl. And so
Mhm.
that's kind of how we got to that point was, it wasn't a dumbed down, watered down, less
Yeah,
than
no.
product line. It was what we used, and we were kind of,
Mhm.
if you will, they were kind of our favorites, right? And
Yeah.
that line has been built out as we've gone along and decided we need a product in a different space. Like the iron remover, was added.
Mhm.
We could just as easily have made that a Pro Series product, but it had a
Mhm.
space, and we put it into double black.
Mhm.
All right. Hopefully that answers the question, and we didn't beat the horse too much.
Mhm.
Absolute
Or
will likely stay on my shelf, but Crystal Wash absolutely will.
yeah, same. That's what I do every day.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I use them together. They're friends.
Yep, yep. Scott, chlorine dioxide for the win with proper safety precautions. Absolutely.
Yep. I thought he was going
For
for the
sure.
FTW towel, but he wasn't.
All right. Jason says, still looking fantastic. Thank goodness. Love it.
Now, we don't want negative reports. We got to have good stuff.
Oh, Amber said Joey's going to Stanford.
We got the whole family on. That's awesome.
Nice. Amber, I hope it's not for the med center. I'm not sure.
Yeah, neither am I.
Joe Kimball checking in. Who is in Chattanooga, Tennessee that we can go visit this week while there for the Women's College World Series? Anybody from Tennessee, speak up so Joe can come see ya.
Well, you can go see my wife. She's in Nashville this week. So when I get home, I'll
Nice.
be home to an empty house. So she's at
Nice.
work conference this week. So she's pulling road warrior duty with me.
Nice.
Uh,
Alex Dewar, happy Monday. Hope everyone is well. Miss and love you all. Better late than never. Thanks for checking in, Alex.
Thanks for coming on. All right, Steve Pearson. I would love an in-depth video from Dave on decon topic, especially with those products.
We'll do it.
Okay, we'll put it on the storyboard to see if we can make it happen.
Jim says, I have a vehicle that I coated with Legend about a year ago. It got some scratches and I'm going to polish them out. Is it okay to just recoat that section with Stout because Legend is no longer available? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a little bit more fun, but yes, it's totally okay. My car personally is like a patchwork quilt with different coatings. And honestly, the only person that notices is me. So, um, no, you're totally fine to recoat it with Stout. Yeah.
Yeah, I got every coating we've ever made on my
Yeah.
car. So,
Same. Yeah.
my car.
Yeah.
So, the other thing is if you're polishing on Legend, if it's only a year or so old, if you do a light polish with, say, either a therapy or an NV,
Mhm.
you may not remove as much coating as you think. So, it's definitely worth checking the response to the paint after you've polished to see what it looks
Mhm.
like.
Yeah. All right. Pristine Auto Detailing. Chad says, it's getting serious when the gloves go on and the hats come off. All I need now is PNS iron remover hazmat suit so that I don't go home smelling. Amen. I have a hard time using the iron remover because of this. Does not blend well. Then I
Yeah,
smell like
you end up
iron remover the whole rest of the day. Ugh.
Yeah, you probably end up smelling
Yeah.
it all day. It's kinda like my
Yeah.
beard conditioner. Put
Yeah.
that in, and it's like the only thing I can smell is that. I'm like,
All
"God,
day.
what's going
Yeah.
on here?" Which is
Yeah.
not bad, but it's a thing. I can imagine with long hair, it's the same problem.
Yeah.
I don't have that
Yeah.
problem.
I
So,
know. I need a shower cap when I use Iron Buster.
oh, we're coming out with peanut shower caps. They're gonna be Fat Joe
Nice.
shower caps now.
Nice. They better have the ears on them. Chad says would do it before coating. I'm gonna guess he means crystal wash, and my answer is absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So another reason to do crystal wash before coating is that we have found that if you have a negatively charged car or low pH car, we tend to get a better bond with our coatings because they are
Mhm.
generally positively charged. So using crystal wash as part of your process before you coat will probably help you with better adhesion of your coating.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
and if you're out there, Michael, please chime in and tell me I'm right, how wrong I am about how I said that. So.
John folks, good morning. I'm a little late this morning. My product of the week is Reflect. It's awesome. Yes, it
Sounds
is.
like Reflect is winning the vote total today.
Yeah, it is so good. So good. All right, Chad, back with I'll have to try Crystal Wash on these days to for details and preps. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it should be your
awesome.
day to day. I
Yeah,
really do agree with that.
yeah,
I think you will have some. I think you'll really enjoy your
yeah,
outcomes with it as your day to day.
yeah. I use it on every single car, whether I'm doing coating maintenance, or a detail. I use it. Hey, look who's here, Bob Phillips.
BP in the house. He's only in the office for a few days this week because he's going on the road. Everybody's on the
Yes,
road this month. So
yes.
yeah, the summer season is here, and that means PNS has the suitcases out. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. All right. 3M Auto Spa. Good morning, detailing family, and happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
It is a happy Monday. Justin Miller. Good morning, everyone. Have a great week.
We will. We'll try anyway.
Chris Moreno checking in from Texas.
Chris was one of our students in the training center, I think a month or two ago,
Okay.
and he was in the process of moving to Dallas, Texas area. So,
Oh, cool.
Chris, great to see you in Texas, man. That's awesome.
Nice. Nice. Amber. Yes, I second the decon video. Okay, we're doing it.
Okay, Bob, tell Dave.
Hey, Dave. Stoich. Keith, you should be in Malaysia around the same time that we'll be having our location's grand opening launch polish party. Wow.
Oh, now, okay, hold on. Storage, by the way, does great video.
Thank
So
you.
I want video of your polish party. I want to know how that goes, and you got to tell me what you're doing because that is a heck of an idea. I love that idea.
I love it too. That sounds
So
fun.
I have an idea now. We have some big things coming at PNS. I can't reveal all of them, but there's some cool stuff Bob and I have been talking about in the works. Um, Bob, that's an idea we got to talk about. So
Yeah,
you'll know what I'm talking about.
right.
And yes, I'm
Love it.
teasing the hell out of you guys. So
Right. Chad, I've been brushing dynamic on tires and letting it sit for a few hours overnight and then washing off the excess. Any tips or tweaks to that method? Just spray it. I wouldn't even brush it. Just spray it and walk away.
yeah.
Totally
Now,
different.
that product, because
Yeah.
it's such a nice siloxane that it does
Mhm.
spray very evenly, and it's a self-leveling product. You know, we talk
Mhm.
about that regularly, that dynamic and um,
Mhm.
well, really full send and
Yeah.
also natural finish all have a
Mhm.
similar siloxane in them that makes them
Yeah.
self-level really, really well. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, spray it and go. Now, when I do dressed, I got to use a brush because it does
Yeah.
not
Oh, yeah.
self-level, and
You're right.
it would
Yeah.
be an absolute a mess if I didn't use a brush.
Yep. All right. Scott agrees. Reflect in gallons is a must do. Pretty please. Yes.
Hashtag PS reflect gallon. I'm telling you,
Yep.
do a campaign.
Yep. Bob's here. He's listening. All right, Amber. Won't the other chemicals you use after crystal wash before coating change the charge of the paint surface?
Generally, but most of the stuff we use is pretty pH neutral after that. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
really, you think about it, compounds and polishes don't really have
Mhm.
an alkalinity to them one way or
Mhm.
the other. The only other thing we're using after that is a clay lubricant, which, you know, um, is an anti-static type product anyway, if we're
Mhm.
not just using the absolute to do it. So, yeah, we're pretty pH neutral from that point forward. Great
Excuse me.
question, though.
Yeah. Alex, if you're not using Undressed on rubber mats, you're missing out. I might have a video out. He did put a new video out on Saturday. It was great. Um, and honestly, if you do Undressed and then do Dressed, that's great as well.
Yeah.
Dressed works great on mats. You do have to knock it down a little bit afterwards, but it's great. Like if you like if any of you use that Kosh Gumi, you should try Dressed. It's very, very, very similar.
I did not know that. Okay,
It
that's
is,
a
yeah.
good one. And, partly part of me is I just use natural finish there, so it's kinda my thing, so.
Yeah, and me too. I mean, it's just a different look. And Joey Belinsky coming in hot with the promo code BuckyVW. Isn't that so nice? He means to buy stuff on our website, but isn't that so nice? Because Joey has his own code, but he's giving Bucky VW so you can go buy undressed and dressed on the website.
Yeah. Alright, so here's another campaign we can start because we should just cause all sorts of problems at
Yeah,
PNS.
yeah. Somebody had to do it.
5
Gary coming
gallons of
in with
release.
yeah.
I
Somebody
think
had to say it.
let's get through making sure we have pints and gallons first, and then we'll work on the fives. So,
Yeah, and I think we're still in line. We're still waiting for fives of rags to riches.
yeah, that's a campaign I've wanted to have for years. I just,
Yeah,
I love that product. Um
yeah.
There's another one. Okay, so we're going to talk about this for a second. I sent Sydney 2 pictures of muddy water this week. I went through the
Mhm.
training center and stripped the towels.
Yeah, that should have been your product of the week.
It should have been, but then I used Soul on
Yeah.
Thursday and it wrecked my brain. So, you know what it was? It was the fact that it smelled like reindeer coming out of your butt. So that's
Yeah.
why. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Phew. Glad it still smells like that.
Yeah, it still smells nice. So,
Alex, all right, I'm about to get dressed for the Met Gala. I
oh,
see
I
what
like
too funny. And Joey's saying, Amber, I am at the medical center, but just for the yearly ticker checkup. Well, good, as long as nothing's wrong.
Yeah, don't freak us out like that, dude. We need you around. You made a commitment to us in August.
In case you forgot.
Yeah, we're gonna take away his code if he doesn't show up in August. That's what we'll do.
There you go.
Well, we're out of questions. Come on, folks. Here
Well,
we
we
go.
are right on the hour as well,
We are.
but
We're kind of
we are,
we're
yeah.
good on time today.
Yeah. Yeah, we
So a
kept
little
up.
bit more low energy show, but let's talk about where we're going to be. Let's try and keep it to between now and the end of June, which is basically a long schedule. But
Yeah.
so Bob and I are out the door first. Bob and Rennie will be in Vancouver, Canada at Crystal
Mhm.
Bright on Thursday,
This
Friday, and
coming weekend.
Saturday,
Mhm.
this coming weekend coming up.
Yep.
So you got to check them out. And then I jump on a plane with Alan Medcraft, who will meet me there.
Mhm.
And we are going to Malaysia to work with Auto Maxima. They have a 3-city tour starting in Jakarta, ending in Singapore. So check us out as we're off being the international travelers that we are. And then the following week, I'll come home on Monday. Alan and I will get home Monday. You and Josh are picking up the ball for Team PNS. And actually, before that, Josh and Rennie are going to the Bays in St. Louis to
Mhm.
open their place next week on the Saturday. So that would be the
Mhm.
31st of May.
Like 31st. Mhm.
Yeah, and then you and Josh go to DA Superstore in Orlando,
Mhm. Mhm.
and that's the 6th and 7th. So I think the meet and
Yep.
greet's Friday night, and then
Yep.
Saturday is the coding class. And how cool
Mhm.
is this? You talk about, our coding class is getting more efficient. The class doesn't start till 11 and you're going to be
I
done
know.
before 4.
By 4, yeah. So
It's
crazy.
you kind of feel guilty about taking that,
Yeah, I'm
you
so
know.
excited. Yeah, I'm so excited. And then let's see, and then we've got, we come home from that, and then the next Monday, we have PNSs in Boise for the whole week at
Yeah.
varying stages, right? Varying people.
Yep.
I'll obviously be here all week. And so that will be a fun, we'll kind of keep that a little bit under wraps for now, but the team will be here. We'll be making those videos that everybody requested.
Yep.
And then at the end of that week, Keith and I will meet back up in Denver
Yeah. Yep.
and we'll be at Auto Wash for Colorado Detail Supplies for their stout class. And then maybe we have a class the next day as well.
Yeah, to
Still
be
waiting.
announced. Yep.
Yep, still waiting on to hear on that one. And then is that it for June?
No, because the following weekend I go to Grand Junction, Colorado on
Oh,
the other
that's
side
right.
of the
Yes, yes,
state,
yes.
and I
Yes.
work with, Justin Kraus and his team, and we will
Yeah.
be doing basically an IDA training class. So we're gonna do a full detail
Okay.
class,
Cool.
start to finish on Friday, and then we'll do the IDA certification on Saturday, over at his place. So it's going to be a full month, a lot of Colorado in there.
Mhm.
I'm kind of excited about the auto wash thing because we're going to go to
Mhm.
see the monster that Dylan Von Kleist and
Mhm.
friends, as well as Mr. Levi Gates, who will be
Levi,
hosting
yep.
the facility, have built, and it's going to be a cool facility. He gave me a video tour, and we're
Mhm.
really excited about that. So,
Yeah.
um, that's all going on, and then in July, just a teaser at the mothership at PNS. Training week is a RUPES class, and that will be Sydney and Sarah doing the RUPES program at PNS that week. So we'll put an announcement out on that before we get to the first part of June. So,
Yep. Cool. All right,
um,
one last question. I do wanna answer this one from Gary. Um, Switch up to Gary Voigt's question.
here we go.
What do you guys think of the auto fiber UFO pads with the Terminator and Corporate Bomber? Like magic. That's what I
Magic,
think about it. That's
freaking
what I think
magic.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah. So Ian Remmelkamp and team, Kyle and everybody down there, and Prentice, you guys have a bona fide certified all-star winner with that product. That is
Yeah,
fantastic.
so great.
And I've used rotary brushes for my entire career, and this is nth level
Mhm.
better than any kind of rotary brush. So
Yeah, so
can't,
good.
and it pairs so well with that product setup. It just
Mhm,
we used it in the training center this week on a Matt's car. So
mhm.
I do want to do give a shout out to long
Oh,
term
yeah, to
team
Matt.
member
Mhm,
Matt Mendoza, who retired last week or had his last day last Tuesday. So on Monday in the training center, we did his car, and he had some stains on his light colored seats, and we got those out. But Matt, thank you for 27 years of great service to the
mhm.
PNS team and the PNS family. Um, our distributors all know who he is, and nobody better than Matt at solving a problem when it came into the building. So we'll
Mhm.
miss you, Matt.
Yep.
Well, we got one more. We got one more.
Good morning, Sydney from Rags and Brushes. What do you prefer, Express or Swift? I both. It just depends on the situation. If a car is actually dirty, I'm going to be Express, and if it's not too dirty, Swift. And sometimes I even do Express and I finish with Swift. So I actually go through a lot of Swift in my shop. So I think in my shop I only have 5 products in fives, and Swift is one of them. If it tells you anything,
Yeah,
another one is Express. So
yeah.
both.
So this is a great question from Gary. So for years we only had a rotary for a for a brush.
Mhm.
Ever since we've had DAs where we could use it, I recommend only a DA for scrubbing any kind of fabric or carpet. And
Yeah.
speed one is the speed limit, guys. There's a speed
Yeah.
limit on these things.
Mhm.
Let the tool do the work, but you don't need to be overly aggressive with it. Speed one, any DA will do. I prefer a
Mhm.
free spin. That way, it's not grabbing and tearing it. It has an opportunity to clutch out and not do too much damage if it catches on something. So, always, I like a large throw DA that has no forced action to it.
Yep. Look at all these last minute questions coming in. Best product for new car leather. I just do natural finish on new
Yeah.
cars. I do. Yeah, I just do natural finish. The other thing too about brand new leather and the leather conditioner specifically is sometimes it doesn't really absorb it all because it's not dry yet. So I tend to choose the leather conditioner on, older dried out leather, whereas natural finish just to me is so easy to use and it's perfect. Yep.
Yeah, and I think natural finish is really gonna give you more of a locked in protection, whereas
Mhm.
the leather treatment really I would use, like Sid said, on a more veteran leather that needs a little
Yeah.
hydration and a little conditioning. And I still
Mhm.
wipe off the excess of my leather treatment, and I still put
Mhm.
natural finish over the top of it. But that's me, I'm old school, just gray hair. That's what it is.
Yes, Jason, Swift works great on WeatherTech mats also. Yep, I do use that a lot as well.
Yep.
I use Swift more on the ones that like the Volkswagen or the Audi ones that don't get super dry. I'll use Swift on those a lot and let them bake in the sun. WeatherTech, I still generally go to natural finish because they're usually drier, but I love Swift on mats also. I use that a lot.
Okay,
Super
controversial
great.
question of the closeout. Here we go.
Oh man. Oh.
Favorite 3-inch DA.
The Rupes. The Rupes. That's you know what? That is controversial. That's controversial within my own mind.
Yeah.
Because I have 3 of them and I actually love all of them, but I use them for different things. So I have the Rupes, the little mini 3-inch, the high heel one. I have the Flex, and I have the RBL 3-inch polisher. I love the RBL because it's quiet,
Yep.
but it maybe doesn't last as long. The Rupes will last as long as I need it, but it's a little bit unhinged. But it does a good job. The Flex is great with the versatility and where you can fit it in. It's not too big, but it's a little bit underpowered. But I love it as a 1 or 2 inch. I love that you can change the head
Yeah,
size. That is my favorite thing about the Flex. So the versatility of the Flex and the flexible shaft. So honestly, I have all 3 and I love all 3 and I despise all 3. So that's a controversial just within myself. Um, if you had to choose one that you could use the most often, if I had to say what my most common used one, it's the Rupes
yeah. And I
because
think
it
if I
has
was
power.
doing just straight up go polish, it's the Rupes tool every day of the
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Um, the flexibility of the PXE80 is great, especially if you're trying to get the little whip tool, the little
Yeah.
snake,
Yeah.
and you're trying to get into door. That the
Yeah.
versatility on that tool is unbelievable. Um,
Yeah.
I do love the RBL tool because it is quiet. It doesn't
It's
vibrate the
quiet.
hell
Yeah.
out of your hands.
Right.
Um, but it's a tool that's probably more focused at if I was doing spot sanding, I would only use the RBL tool
Yeah.
because
Yep.
I think the Rupes tool is too aggressive
Right.
or
Mhm.
can be.
Mhm.
So there you go. We answered it by saying my favorite
Mhm.
answer to all tool questions, whatever works for the problem that's in front of me right now. That's my
Mhm.
favorite. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there's 3 favorite uses.
Yeah. Yep. Let's go. Bruce, yes, I love my Mirka. I've only used it once so far, but quiet and smooth. Yeah, the Mirka seems very similar to the RBL.
Yeah.
Just a little bit different battery system, but otherwise functionality, it seems very, very right in line with it. So yes, the Mirka's great.
Yep.
And yes, Steve, thanks. I have a 3 inch that I despise as well. So I'm in the market. Honestly, I've not heard of any 3 inch that everybody loves. So it's just kind of one of those things.
Yeah. Well, to
It's
give you an
just,
idea, if I were doing headlights, I would
yeah.
use the RBL for the
Yep.
sanding. I would
Hmm.
use Rupes for the polishing,
Hmm.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I
totally.
would do. So
Yeah, totally.
again, rich guy problems. I guess if you've got all 3, you got
Hmm.
what $1,000 in tools right there. So there is that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
think really depends on if 90% of your 3-inch is polishing,
Hmm.
you're probably going to get the
Hmm.
Rupes.
Yeah.
If 90% is sanding, then you probably want the RBL. So it just depends
Hmm.
on what you're trying to do.
Yep. Yep.
God, we opened the
So yeah.
can of worms. We were almost done.
Yeah, Jeff, speaking of polishers, good option for polishing door cups. So generally speaking, depending on what is going on, I don't usually worry too much about the door cups. I can usually get in them good enough with the 3 inch and an edge guard pad. I can get safely where I need to. And then if there's just a little line behind the actual door handle, sometimes I'll just polish that by hand. um for me, that's most of the cars that I see, that's all they need. But if you do have one with a lot of scratches and you really need to get in there, that's where that 3 inch, the Flex Pixie, the flexible shaft, that's where that comes in, because that's got the, where you're holding the head and you're up there behind it, you can really get those really nice and polished out. I would say that I only pull that out maybe one in every 30 cars, because like I said, the cars I'm doing don't need that measure. But if you do have a lot of vehicles that you're trying to repair scratches behind the door handle, that's where the Pixie and its flexible shaft comes in.
Yeah,
Super
I
great.
totally agree, and especially with kind of the cone shaped where you can get right in there.
Mhm.
But I 90% of the time, and this is controversial, I will take an FTW towel, and I
Yeah.
do that because it's
Yeah.
kind of a double ply towel, so I'm
Right.
not kind of putting too much
Yeah.
finger pressure in, and I
Yeah.
will finger polish with
Mhm.
rehab, and I can get out a lot of damage in the door
Same.
cup with that. So,
Yeah.
um, you don't have to go all bougie. You can actually do it the old
Right.
fashioned way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Merca price tag, though, I think
Well,
that's just polishers nowadays, man.
I
Polishers
think it
are,
is. I think it's also
yeah.
you buy quality tools and you
Mhm.
get that and um, you
Yeah.
know,
Yep. He says, yeah, he got it 20% off at Clean Garage when they had a sale. Good for you. Usually people exclude polishers from the sales.
yeah, almost all the
Good
time.
Yeah.
Um,
If you can find those deals, jump on them because
yeah,
usually they're an accident.
yeah, 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 and Steve's got it right. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
what do you got in the shop today, Sid?
Well, I was supposed to do a boat today, that pretty teal boat that I do every year, but it's too cold today and I rescheduled it.
Hmm. So
So
this
Delaney's Jeep is going to come in the garage because it had a little incident that we won't go into, but had a little incident. and it needs to be completely repolished and coated. So, um, I'm gonna go get coffee. I don't know if you guys noticed I didn't get coffee this morning. I have milk. Um, so I decided not to get up early. Today's her first day home, like from college, where she's literally totally done, not doing anything. So she has a dentist appointment. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna just wait until after Bead Maker and Coffee to go get coffee. So it's time for me to get coffee, and then we're gonna
Hmm.
try to fix her Jeep.
I just noticed that the girl put a note on my coffee
Oh,
today.
look at that.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny, like, a couple months ago, Starbucks started that where they had to handwrite notes, and at first they'd be like, they would write things like, "Have an awesome day. You're so pretty. Go kill it." Now everyone's just like, "Hi." It's like the baristas are tired of writing notes, so now every time it's just like, "Hi."
Even on the best
Thanks.
intended programs, enthusiasm
Yeah.
complains. So,
Yeah. Yep.
um,
Too
well,
funny. Too
I will
funny.
be back on Sunday, so I will be on Bead Maker and
Mhm.
Coffee at 6:30 in the
Mhm.
morning after coming back from the middle of Asia.
Yeah.
Um, you will be just ramping up to go to
Yeah, we'll be
Colorado.
back. I think it's June 2nd. Yep. So we'll be I'll be heading to Orlando that week. So we'll be back June 2nd, which is why we skipped last week so that we wouldn't end up on Memorial Day, right? So we'll be back June 2nd, and yeah, maybe we'll have some updates on when release or when Reflect will be in gallons. We'll get together with Bob on that. I noticed how he
Or
never chimed back in.
yeah, he never came back. Or
He never
maybe
opened that door for discussion.
yeah, I don't think we're gonna get an answer on we're gonna get 5 gallons of, rags to riches or, yeah,
Yeah.
but,
Yep.
we'll work on it.
Yep.
And again, get that hashtag going.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
PS,
Well, thanks everyone. You guys have a great week. Stay out of the pollen, and we will see you in a couple weeks. And obviously, during the next 2 weeks, if you have any questions, check in at the Bead Maker Lounge, and we will be there to help you.
you got it. See you, everybody.